All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be going over Candace Owens discussing a time that Trump got upset with her. She was on her podcast, or on her show, rather, on the Daily Wire, her segment, discussing this. So we're about to get into it right now. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while you're here checking it out with me. Now let's get into it.
Except there was something wrong with it, apparently. Trump actually got upset with me because, and here's the great irony, the richest irony, the Daily Beast ran a headline regarding that live Instagram that you just heard from me. And the headline was, Candace Owens says Trump is pro-vax because he's too old to understand the internet. I never once called Trump too old. I never once said that Trump could not understand the internet. And yet somehow he got that information and believed it to be true. He thought that I said that he was too old and that he couldn't understand the internet and did not quite get the information that actually what I was saying was a defense of him so that his supporters would still believe in him. Not only was he just mad, by the way, he then, during a golf session with some mutual friends of ours, had a person next to him who was egging this on, saying to Trump, and I know this because, again, this is a mutual friend, aren't you mad at Candace? Aren't you mad at Candace? Aren't you mad at Candace? And eventually he was like, yeah, I'm so mad at Candace. I'm so mad at Candace. And this got back to me that he was upset with me, that he was angry at me. And the next time that I saw him, he was quite rude to me. He was actually rude to me. I'm telling you this personal story because I think it is something that made me, for the first time, question him as a person. So you have an individual that spent years defending you, right? And that individual gave you a completely kind and fair interview. You said something yourself that your base didn't like, and you somehow transformed that into something that I did wrong. That's unacceptable. All
right, let me go for a second, because if she's referring to back when she interviewed Donald Trump and he was on her show, he did support the vaccines because he was the one, Operation Warp Speed or whatever. He was the one that helped to push everything. So she's not, I wouldn't characterize what she said as a lie by any means. He did support the vaccines, but that's because he was very instrumental in rolling them out. You know what I mean? And we got to be real. Some people might not like it. Some people on the right might not like it, but there are people on the right who will blindly follow Trump. I mean, and I love Trump. I love what he did for us. I wouldn't mind seeing him run again. But we got to be able to call a spade, regardless of if this is someone you like or if this is someone you dislike. You got to be able to call a spade. And I think he don't got the right people around him. You know what I'm saying? I think he dealt with that while he was in office as well. But, anyone who's egging him on to go at Candace, why? But, that's not a good person to even have around you, man. So, yeah, let's let Candace keep going, though.
That is not being a leader. That is not owning things that you did wrong. That is not owning that you misunderstood something about your base. That's not growing. That's not developing. In fact, he should have tried to understand why the base was so upset with him, which would have led to the fact that his base is not pro-COVID vaccine. It's that simple. I understood that. I could have told him that. But at that moment, I realized that he's not listening. Who is this guy next to him trying to egg him on to be angry at me for trying to defend him, to say that he's not a shill, to say, no, actually, I think that he genuinely does support the vaccines. He did genuinely support the vaccines. So all of this going on made me, again, question him if he was becoming too angry, which is to say that when Trump went into the election in 2016, he was having fun, right? He was naming people, giving them fun names, enjoying the base, having a good time. I would even say in 2020, you could feel the energy. It was electric. I think after the 2020 election, and because of the shock of all the things that happened and the answers that we never really feel that we got, this sinking realization that we might be actually losing our country, I think that it pushed him into an angry space where he doesn't trust anybody, where he doesn't listen to anybody, where he's almost likely to believe that everybody's trying to turn their back on him and stab him in the back. Yeah. And again, I don't believe that that's leadership, but I never spoke on that because I thought to myself, I think that that's a lot of ego that Trump is having right now, but maybe I'm being egotistical. Maybe me even speaking out about this is me being offended and butthurt that he was so rude to me. He was so rude to me on the basis of what he said. But after time, I've realized that no, these discussions that everybody is having, these conservative influencers are having behind Trump's back, should be also had with the public as well. You have a right to know that. You have a right to take that information and judge it as you will. And to question whether or not there has been a change in Trump. How could there not be? How could you suffer a defeat and know in your heart that a lot of things that happened regarding that defeat were wrong, even if you don't believe that what happened in Maricopa County during the election was fishy? I do personally believe that. You at least believe that the Hunter Biden laptop suppression led to different results in the election. Of course it did. Many people said that if they had known that that laptop was real, they would have voted differently. So he has every right to be angry. But if you stay at a place of anger, right, you are ignoring everything that is going on around you. You're no longer looking and assessing things in the way that you should be assessing them because you're holding on to this almost vengeful spirit.
I will say this, I've never had no interactions with Trump, you know what I'm saying? So Candace Owens, her testimony here, actually holds some weight. She sat down with him, she interviewed him, she knows people that know him, etc. But I will say this, regardless of this story, because people have conflicts. It is what it is. This going on don't got nothing to do with me. But I will say this, to say that Trump, there are a few changes that Trump could possibly make, because the 2020 election and the 2016 election will not be the 2024 election. In 2016, we needed a Trump. We really needed someone with Trump's exact characteristics. Like, I wouldn't change nothing. Debatably, even in 2020, I wouldn't really change much. Just clean up some of the things he would say, right? But it's gonna be different. I don't think he could take the same approach. And win, because people have seen it. A lot of people hate it. You know what I mean? He's gonna have to change things up a little bit to appeal to some new people, try to attract some new voters. I don't know if he'll be able to just show up and win, and just show up and do the exact same thing that he did before and win. But we'll see. Leave a comment how you feel about that in the comments below.
Right. That is the question that I've had with Trump. Is he going to get over the trauma of the election of 2020 and begin to paint a vision for 2024? What is his vision for 2024? Is it I'm back? Because that's not a vision to me. It needs to be more than I'm back, right? And I think that what's happening behind closed doors, people believing that they're not sure who he's listening to. Maybe there's a paranoia potentially that's setting in, that he believes that his friends, now me, oh my God, how could you say I was too old? I read the headline on the Daily Beast. That's what she said. I didn't say that, right? If you thought I said that, you should have been a decent human being. You should have picked up the phone and you should have called me, right? Because that's what I would have done. I would have reached out to you to clarify things. That's
the same thing she told Ben Shapiro.
Means to be a person, that's what it means to be a friend. That's what it means to be a colleague, not even a friend. What it means to be a colleague is to actually have relationships with people, to honor the relationships that you have with people that don't take place in the public sphere. We didn't do any of those things. And I think that the MAGA movement is reflecting Trump. I think there is a trepidation that I'm sensing in Trump. And I think that trepidation is evidenced by him taking a random swing at DeSantis last week. I don't think it was helpful, even though DeSantis won Florida handily. He's not running against DeSantis right now, right? DeSantis is running for governor. I know Trump voted for him and all of that's great. Why take a random swing, right? I think the base is feeling that trepidation. They're not sure who to listen to on endorsements. Do you listen to DeSantis? Do you listen to Trump? Or do we listen to these influencers? Are these influencers listening to DeSantis? Are these influencers listening to Trump? They're wondering about what the leadership looks like. And I think that I am not at all under any impression that Trump can't win in 2024. No. What I am saying is that Trump needs to take a good look in the mirror, and he needs to take a good look in the room, and he needs to read the room accurately. He needs to take a look at those that are around him that are inspiring this paranoia and making him believe that everyone's out to get him, including his friends. And he needs to exercise a tiny bit more humility when he gets something wrong. Trump is not perfect. I'm not perfect. I get things wrong. I edit. I say, thank you guys for bringing me this new information. I hadn't realized that. And there's still a period where he could transform. But I think the results of last night's election, which are still coming in, show that we aren't sure. All right, guys, next portion of the show is going to be available.
All right, guys, and that's it for the reaction. Yeah, I mean, what to say? What to say about that? I think, of course, people on the same base are gonna fight with each other. When it comes time to select who's running for presidency, people from the same base, left and right, have to compete to decide who is the one that runs. But my hope is just that at the end of the day, whoever wins, whether it be DeSantis or whether it be Trump, whoever runs, whoever is running on the Republican ticket, that once that's decided, everyone can just unify and we could focus on what we need to focus on, and just come together and make this a better country. I think that's really what's important. Trump definitely does have an ego. You can see it. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't like to be wrong. But, I just think, again, I'm going to say it again, we need to be able to call a spade a spade. Trump is not Jesus. He's not God. He's just a human, just like everyone else. So he will mess up. He will slip up sometimes, but that don't take away from nothing that he did his time in office, because he was a great president, if you ask me. Gave us a lot of mean tweets, a lot of laughs, and he also was very effective and actually did great things. So at the end of the day, this is just a little beef. We'll see how this plays out, and we'll see how Trump looks and what he's saying when he actually does hit the campaign trail, like seriously, and starts making these serious announcements. I feel like a lot of it has been there's been a lot of teases, a lot of teasing for quite some time. I'm not too interested in the teasing. I want to know when he's officially saying, like, all right. But yeah, that's it for the reaction, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe when you're at the door. Till next time, I'm out, you guys. Peace.